to be the host, he coming live. All for the glory of Christ, he's gonna shine. The youth be the target. Real interviews, DJs, ones and twos, and live artists. Hitting the church, especially in the streets. Digging in the word so the heavenly can see. We coming hard, yo, script by script. We glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick. Yeah, we glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick.
I'm here with Tiffany Aliche, financial consultant. Tiffany has been working for many years now in the consulting field of finances, and she's here to properly show us how to budget our finances. Tiffany, tell me, how did you start as a financial consultant?
Well, first they call me the Budgetnista. I started as a financial consultant officially full-time last November, but I've been doing it for over 10 years. I was always really good with my money. My dad is an accountant, and we used to have money meetings every month, and he would just show me and my sisters and I how to manage our money. And I can remember when we were 14, we would go to the bank together and you would open up your first bank account. So it kind of grew from there, and I just got really good at it. As I was saying before, that I can remember when I had my first job and I was making $12 an hour, and I was able to save from that $12 over $10,000 that first year.
That first year, $10,000
yes.
Off of $12 an hour.
Yes. I was making about $1,400 a month, and before I got my money, which is key when you're planning your budget, before you receive money, I created a plan. And I looked at my expenses, which were about $500 a month, and I saw I could save about $900 because I wanted to buy a car. I just graduated college, and I also wanted to move out. And so $900 a month, 12 months later, $10,800. And wow. So I bought a used car because I didn't want to have to pay a car note. It was only like 2 years old, and the car was about $5,000. And then I was able to move out, pay for my apartment, all my furniture in cash, and so that kind of started me on the road to realizing that you don't have to have a lot to have a lot. Okay.
Now the reality is, you know, for a lot of us who don't have the means, like let's say a lot of parents, a lot of single parents who are just trying to survive. You know, they have children, they have a lot of things going on in their life where they're not able to properly finance a budget. I mean, is that like reality as far as saving $10,000 in a year?
Well, I'll say this, because we live in the richest country, America, in the world. So chances are, unless you're homeless, which is a reality, but chances are you probably have excess in your budget. If your child is wearing like brand new clothes, and you know, you're getting your hair cut regularly and doing all these extra things, then that means there's excess in your budget. But most people can't see it because they don't have a budget. So even if you're making $1,000 a month, if you cut back on certain things, like maybe instead of eating out, you guys cook more, you can use that excess money towards saving and eventually investing. So even though you may be a single parent, I was a teacher here in Newark for 7 years, and those kids would be laid, like just like they look like little models. So I know that there's excess money because you don't get clothes like that if you don't have something. So if maybe instead of getting your kids the most expensive clothes, you spend a little bit less, and you can put that money toward, like I said, saving or investing.
Okay, so everything starts within just cutting back on what we like, not having our wants, but our needs.
It's funny you should say that, because I actually have, like, this is my Budgetnista bracelet. So I'm actually going to give you one to keep. So what it says on there is that your needs are greater than your loves, your loves are greater than your likes, and your likes are greater than your wants. So it's supposed to remind you, when you shop, you ask yourself if you need it, love it, like it, or want it. And if you don't need it or love it, you're going to really rethink it, because most of our money is wasted, like you just said, on your likes and your wants. And so thousands of dollars in your lifetime are wasted on things like maybe you have premium cable. That's not necessarily, that's not a need. And you may think you can't afford to send your child to college, but if you've had cable since they were 2, by the time you're 18, that was college money. You know? And so that's an excess where some parents may say they can't afford something, but you have cable. You know, maybe you eat out a whole lot. Maybe, like I said, one thing my parents used to do is they used to swap clothes with like my family members. So instead of buying super brand new clothes, I would get like hand-me-downs, but you know, still you're not gonna die if you have hand-me-downs. I'd rather go to college. For me, I cut out my cable, I stopped eating out, and it allowed me to travel because that's what I really love. So if you're able to cut back on certain things, then you're able to have more things that you really, really love.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, without getting a little too political or anything like that, I know there are people from other countries that come here to the U.S. and they're able to save so much money. We see it all the time. You see people that come from other countries and they're opening up their businesses or they're driving around in these luxurious cars, but it's because they're doing what you're saying that we should be doing as far as like residents of the U.S., residents here, especially within the urban community, you know, where you see your homeboys driving a Pinto with rims, you know, I mean, is that really a necessity? Or, you know, like, and you can't really blame anyone for wanting the best,
of course,
you know, but it just goes about doing the right thing as far as like their budgeting, their finances, getting your, like you said, your children through college. Like how will one start off by doing all these things?
It's funny you should say that because even though I was born here in Newark, my parents were born in Nigeria. So they are one of the people that you see. I was like, let me see what he's going to say. No, but you know what it is? That, first of all, when I go to Nigeria, the level of wealth that we have here in the United States is amplified when I go to Africa. Because literally, there's some of my family that have little to nothing. And so, and yet they feel wealthy and they feel they're happier than people are here. So it just shows me we don't have to have a lot. We've gotten so spoiled here where we think you live in a brick building and you consider yourself poor. There are people who literally live in shacks that they built with their own 2 hands. That's poor. So we just don't have a concept of what poverty really is here in America. And you really just, to me, you, like I said, you have to start by creating a plan. Step number 1 is always to list everything that you spend money on every month. So everything from childcare, your cell phone bill, your cable, just list it. Don't worry about the number. Then step 2 is to put the amount, what you spend on those things each month. And then you add it up and see what your monthly expenses are. And if it's too high, you start slashing things. Cable, that's gone. And some things like that. So yeah, really, that's just, so that's really how you go about starting to begin a budget.
Okay. Now, your book. Talk to me about your book.
So this is my first book of hopefully many, The 1 Week Budget. In it, I kind of describe, not kind of, I describe a step-by-step guide of how I create the budget that I use successfully now over a period of 7 days. So I felt like I was blessed enough to have this information, and that when you're blessed, you're supposed to enjoy it yourself, but you're also supposed to share. So that's my way of sharing.
All right. I want to thank Miss Alicia for coming through to find out more about her book, The 1 Week Budget. Just contact the Brick by Brick on Facebook, and you'll get more information. You could get in contact with Miss Alicia directly. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Welcome back to Brick by Brick. I'm with Devin Young, President and founder of Better. How are you, Ms. Young?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Better. What does Better stands for?
The acronym BETTER stands for Bringing Education Through True Entertainment Resources.
Okay, and what does this group consist of? Like,
BETTER is actually a nonprofit organization that I founded. I actually founded the organization roughly in about 2008. What I do is I teach kids, but I utilize multimedia, meaning like movies, music, the arts, any type of entertainment, basically to engage children. And I teach them critical thinking and life skills.
all right. As far as I understand, you used to be a hip-hop artist. Okay,
Yes.
do you want to reiterate on?
Oh, sure, definitely. Well, basically, I used to be a rap artist from 2004 to 2007 was probably the height of my musical career. I went by Devla Ray was my rap name, and basically I went on a U.S. tour, so I toured all around the U.S. and I had a chance to go overseas as well. I went to 9 different countries overseas. That all came to a halt in about like 2007, just because, you know, different politics within the industry. And basically I moved to the city of Newark, got completely immersed in the nonprofit sector, because so many different people that I knew that already lived in the city of Newark were actively involved in nonprofit organizations, whether they were working with them or helping them as far as volunteering. So basically I just started volunteering. I saw the need within the community, and you know, like 2 to 3 years later, you know, started my own nonprofit.
Awesome, awesome. Now let me ask you, your nonprofit organization is located here in North New Jersey?
Yes, it's based out in Newark.
Okay, now for anyone who's interested in finding out more information on Better, or what is it that you promote as far as Better, like what is it that you're willing to teach and show these young people?
Sure. Well, actually, I have coming up a Black History event that I do, an annual Black History event. This year it's called Black History, Black Future. So basically past, present, and future achievement of African Americans. So what it is that we're going to do is we're going to have different speakers and different performers from all different age brackets. It's going to be a free event. It's going to be held in Montclair, New Jersey. The location of it is actually Glenfield School, so that's 25 Maple Avenue in Montclair, New Jersey, and it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's a free event to the community. I do different events. All of the events that I do are free. I also have done in the past a back-to-school event. In 2009, I held the back-to-school event that was at the Bears Stadium.
In downtown Newark?
Yes, in downtown Newark. So what I do with the back-to-school event is give away free, you know, book bags and school supplies to the kids. Have different nonprofit organizations be a part of it, and, you know, give the community free literature and information about the programs and services that they provide as well. So basically what I do is although I have my own nonprofit, I make sure that I'm, you know, very inclusive and just help as many other nonprofit organizations that are willing to help the kids as possible.
Now, do you promote these kids as far as like getting them contracts? Let's say somebody who wants to be a rapper or a singer or an actor. How do you go promote? Do you actually promote them?
Well, no. I definitely don't promote them, not in that sense, as far as like trying to get them deals and things of that nature, because the music industry is very cutthroat, you know. What I do encourage artists to do, young artists to do, is to be independent and to, you know, come out with their own, you know, material, and even as far as like promoting it themselves. But what I do is I create a platform for them to be able to showcase their talents. And if, you know, any of whether they would like to be a part of any of my events, but I mean, I'm just like open, you know, if anybody has any questions or concerns, I'm probably gonna, you know, receive a lot of calls after this, but that's fine. If anybody has any questions or concerns about the industry, like, you know, I'm an open book. You know, the information that I have, I'm willing to share with others.
Okay, sort of like brick by brick, we're here to promote anyone out there who has these talents, and that's a wonderful thing as far as like reaching out to the community and bringing out. There's a lot of talent here in the city of Newark, and that's what this show pretty much is all about, and throughout the whole urban community, period.
But it has to be positive.
It has to be positive.
It has to be positive, because with the music, even though, you know, when I was rapping, the music that I did, like, I didn't have any profanity or it wasn't anything, you know, crazy. And that allowed me to be blessed enough to travel the U.S. and to be able to go overseas. So if, you know, if not for anything else, I know that you can be a positive artist, you can do positive things, and you can be successful.
Amen. Yes, you can. We have actually a lot of performers that come through brick by brick, and that's the main goal and purpose of this show, is to you know, empower the youth, empower people who are into like what you're doing as far as your organization, you know, Better, and like you said, other platforms and other organizations that are reaching out to people out in the community that have nephews, nieces, you know, family members, excuse me, that are performers or actors and singers. And like you said, it is a cutthroat business as far as like the music industry, but there are also other outlets that you can promote yourself, and that takes a whole business aspect. How do you also teach the business aspect as far as the music industry, acting, whether it's acting or just performing, period?
Well, I mean, I have done that in the past. I have discussed, you know, with young people as far as the ones that are interested in getting into the entertainment business. You know, I have discussed with them different things. But now that you mention it, I may actually create a curriculum around it, you know, to really actually teach them different things as far as copyrights are concerned, and just kind of like protecting their material. Even as far as, you know, different methods of distribution, or how to possibly even distribute and promote. But of course, you know, iTunes, and there are so many other ways now, and the internet is, I mean, definitely social networking as far as like Facebook. Like, there are so many different outlets that are available for young people if they are, you know, actively doing their music.
Right. Now, the spiritual aspect, like, how do you go about promoting the spiritual aspect as far as the music industry is concerned?
As far as music is concerned, basically just really, like I said, promoting positive artists, you know, like artists that, for example, I work with a young group of girls, and their name is Bloom. Bloom is a young pop and R&B group. Their age range is, I believe, about like 14 or 15 to maybe about like 16 or 17 years old. Three, you know, young, beautiful girls. They write their own music. One of them plays the acoustic guitar. They're just really talented, you know, and basically I give them platforms in order for them to be able to do their thing. So I think that music is spiritual within itself. You know, like a lot of people have a connection that's very deep with music. So I just promote artists that have positive, you know, spiritual music.
Bloom, I would like to have Bloom on Break by
Wow,
Break.
that's beautiful.
This will be their first platform. We're here to promote, you know, groups, you know, that are putting out positivity throughout the city of Newark. We want to showcase this young talent, you know, and we have to, as a community, we have to watch over our own. Everyone has that responsibility, you know, to watch our children grow up in a positive way that's going to help them go out and be heard, have their voices heard.
Definitely.
And there are a lot, like I said, there's a lot of young talent out there, and a lot of it is being, you know, just covered. Newark has this stigma. The urban community in itself has a stigma where nothing really good comes out of the community, but people such as yourself and the group Bloom, you know, are here to say, listen, you know, that's not the case here.
And you as well, you know, with this show. I mean, seriously, you know, a lot of people need to understand that there are so many positive things that go on in the city, but a lot of times it's very much overlooked, you know, and there are other individuals and organizations, you know, I'm one person, you know, you're one person within a microcosm, you know, of people within the community. Like there are organizations like Stop Shooting, you know, which is a very positive organization that deals with gun violence, you know, and anti-violence. There is Purple Rain, you know, that deals with domestic violence and abuse. There are so many different organizations within the city of Newark that are doing progressive things and here for the people, and people need to know about it.
Yes, yes they do. And Devin Young, I want to thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Brick by Brick. I would like to see you again with your group,
definitely.
Bloom, and looking forward to meeting this group of young women, and to find out more about Devin Young and her organization. You can find out more information after this show on Brick by Brick.
And betterworldwide.org. Thank you.
What's going on, y'all? You're watching Brick by Brick, and I'm Ish. And I'm here to bring y'all a little bit of what I do. I'm a Christian rap artist, and this is what I do, man. This is my ministry. This is what God has given me to do as a ministry. So I take the music and I fuse it with the gospel, and I just bring it to y'all the way, you know, as God gives it to me. I'm a member of Agape Family Worship Center, which is in Rahway, New Jersey, where my pastor is Pastor Lawrence. Raphael Powell, and we gets it in. That's all I can say about it. We gets it in for God all the time. So no further delay, I'm going to go forth. I'm going to do a piece called The Seventh Proverb. It's an acapella piece for those of you who are watching who probably seen me before. You heard this piece. I do it acapella a lot so that you can really get the gist of what's being said, what the story is. It's literally taken from the book of Proverbs, The Seventh Proverb, and it's a 21st century spin on those scriptures. So without further ado, here we go. See, I used to know this dude named Kevin, and this young temptress with interest in extramarital progressions till trouble came for her and the brethren. A hard lesson. Let's see how the devil used sex as a weapon. See, Kevin had an issue with lust. He crossed a cutie with a booty and he felt it was his duty to crush. He lacked wisdom, restraint, common sense. The results, his immune system ain't been common sense. See, he was bitten on another man's wife. Couldn't see past the D cups to see that it had cost his life. Plus his game was tight. He'd been flirting with her for months, and he knew what she liked, the money, cards, and ice, and well, you know her type. Pretty in the face, skinny in the waist, plenty schemes, down for like anything. One night she in the club, next night with a thug, smoking drugs, sipping bub, getting burns on this rug. She got game too, a little more than average, making lies sound true. Look gentle, but she's savage. And she been plotting and planning on Kevin for the right time so she could let her game unwind. And one particular night in mid-June, she was in one of these moods. And the husband had went on a little trip with his dudes. And she knew Kevin be making his rounds down the block, so time for her to set up shop. She got oiled all up, lip gloss, perfume, lit the scented candles, put the Fredericks on with the slow jam tunes. Dim the lights just right while she peeking through the drapes. Only thing left was getting young Kevin to take the bait. Now watch and discern. The minute Kevin hits the Ave, she happens to take the trash out to the curb. Grease him with a hey sexy, rubbing his arm. How you been? Where you headed? In the rush? Got a minute to come in? Talking slick, biting her lips, signaling eyes. By the night wind made the silk roll clean to her thighs. Kevin's flesh is like yes, but his head was like nah. And the temptress insisted they finish talking inside. Not to his surprise, shorty lays it all bare, falls to his lap and proceeds to kissing him on his ear. Though Kevin felt strange, he couldn't help himself, especially when she started to help him buckle his belt. Before he knew it, he was in it unprotected. Persuasion of a bedroom eyes went uncontested, but little did they know about the husband's text message from a neighbor who wanted to teach young Kevin a lesson. The lust got him going. In the midst of the moaning, I guess they neglected to hear the front door creep open. Caught red-handed, body sweat soaking, but before he could explain, young Kevin starts choking and finding it hard to breathe, gasping for every second, trying to figure out why he feel his life starting to leave, the reason for the pains in his chest, till he noticed the bullet wounds as his sight faded with a final breath. The wages of sin is death, in this case by gun, eternity and fire for adulterated fun. Now he begs the sun for relief from the burn, but judgment is set and courts have been adjourned. In her case, promiscuity led to her demise. A slow and painful death crept up her inner thigh. All the late night thrills brought her to a standstill as time revealed the physical state would take ill. Remember, Kevin had an immune system deficiency, which spawned from what is known as HIV. Though unaware but shared, this would occur. The husband killed him, but 3 years later, AIDS killed her. He could have been breathing. She could have been alive. They could have repented their sins and been living for God. And when temptation came, they could have stood bold if they had the Holy Spirit. They would have had self-control. They would have felt convicted. They would have thought it through. They would have foreseen the outcome or at least had a clue. He could have pulled the Joseph and ran out the house, or she could have took a minute to consider her spouse. Yielding to persuasion by every one of your flesh will only be concluded from life to a second death. But the gift of God is a life in eternity. Want to make the goal, you got to have self-control. So when the enemy comes to somebody else's wife or a handsome young dude with money, cars, and ice and meets you at your weakest point, eager to entice, remember Kevin's story today, tomorrow your life. Good night. And I think like a lot of jokers, they look at it and they think, well, the deeper I go, you know, the more I got to conform. That's what it's what happens. A lot of cats become conformists, you know what I'm saying? And I think that God gave us a gift, he gave us a talent, and he gave us us. You feel what I'm saying? So we're supposed to take what we gain from him as we go deeper in him and fuse that with all of that. Not to lose ourselves, not to lose the talents that he gave us, but to perfect them through him. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of cats, they miss that, man. They get saved, they start walking with Christ, and then they start becoming church rappers, and so on and so forth. And I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with that, but I just know for myself, that my gift wasn't for that. My gift was to be out here. You know what I'm saying? To take it into the streets, take it into the world. Transparency 2010, check it. It's Ish. With D still on the track. Christ. Question. Who do I believe in? And do I know where I'm headed to when I'm leaving? And what's the reason I'm so fully committed? Sticking with it. You can even say I'm addicted, spiritually dependent. No, it ain't a drug home. It ain't religion. I ain't about to crash. No, I ain't headed for no collision. It's relationship. See, I'm in a good position. I ain't paid for a sermon. It ain't cost no tuition. I was crazy, deranged. Life made as much sense as Ish begging for change. Looking back, I'm amazed how I used to be. Fall down drunk in a stupor. Missy Elliott, how I'm talking that super duper. But I prayed and I gave it away. Now I'm a trooper for God. I made a change, y'all. Go and raise the roof up. See, I done moved up. You gotta excuse me, but it's just that I'm glad that he chose to use me. Transparency, y'all.
You are now tuned into Transparency, the album.
Ed Swift, let's go. Well, I'm back from the dead.
You be the host, he coming live. All for the glory of Christ, he's gonna shine. The youth be the target. Real interviews, DJs, ones and twos, and live artists. Hitting the church, especially in the streets. Digging in the word so the heavenly can see. We coming hard, yo, script by script. We glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick. Yeah, we glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick. You be the host, he coming live. All for the glory of Christ, he's gonna shine. The youth be the target. Real interviews, DJs, ones and twos, and live artists. Hitting the church, especially in the streets. Digging in the word so the heavenly can see. We coming hard, yo, script by script. We glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick. Yeah, we glorify the name of the Lord, brick by brick. You be the host, he coming live. All for the glory of Christ, he's gonna shine. The youth be the